way I could get to work from home.
Okay.
So I could get to work from home and not meet people physically. So I went on YouTube and I started learning data analytics. And as God might have it, someone reached out to me that week on Facebook, and it's actually someone in the IT field, but not like data analytics. So it was like, so what have you been up to? What are you doing? And I realized that it's actually someone that's really experienced in tech. I told him, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like learning on YouTube and all of those things. So the guy gave me an opportunity to work with him. He has like a company, small startup. So, but he already told me beforehand that he wasn't going to pay me. So I work more like volunteer as a as a data analyst for them for about 1 year. So I was just like repping the company, but no pay. But what the opportunity gave me was a platform to call my own platform to like kind of develop myself. And I didn't have to like meet them one on one. So everything we did was kind of like online. So that was really great for me. And during that time, I was learning on YouTube how to code on Python, how to do SPSS, how to do Tableau, and some every other data analytics stuff. And I was writing on my blogs. Like John already mentioned, if you learn something and you don't actually use it, it literally flies away because I mean, your brain is not magnetic and you are not going to remember everything. Like something that I learned yesterday, there's a probability that I will not remember it tomorrow. But if you actually do something, it's much, much more easier to know that thing and to remember it. So my own learning was more about I'll learn this thing, then because I love to teach people stuff. So I just like write it on my blog explaining whatever I learned and all of those things. So that way I know that I actually know these things. Then during that time, Nigerian parents, my dad was kind of like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Because he didn't see me physically going to work. So it was like, what am I up to? And he actually asked me to start my master's degree since I was just at home, according to him. So I started a master's degree in chemical engineering because, I mean, I didn't have an idea of data analytics being a master's program in Nigeria. So during that time, I started applying to masters in data analytics and IT in the US, which literally got me here. So what I'm going to say is there's countless and thousands of opportunities in data analytics. But first, nobody's going to hire you, especially in the US where I am. And I feel like that is what is happening in most parts of the world, right? Nobody's going to hire you if you are not going to deliver. And you do not learn data analytics in 6 months or in 3 months. Nobody should lie to anybody about it. I'm just being sincere because I love to be sincere. I used to tell people and give them an example of like, I did chemical engineering for 5 years, right? If I could take that long chance on chemical engineering in a Nigerian institution, for instance, you study law for 5, 6 years, study medicine for 7 years. How do you expect that you are going to learn IT in 3 months? Because I see a lot of people come on Twitter and LinkedIn and like, I want something I can learn. How do I go about this? And I literally see people learn this thing, and in the next 3 months, they are kind of like, I need a job, right? So at this point, you are literally just being rushed. You are rushing yourself and you are going to just come off being half-baked. So I'm going to say it, you can quote me anywhere, that whatever IT skill, even if it's like the simplest ones of, let's say, copywriting is not even simple. You cannot learn it and succeed and get a job and start earning all the big money in 6 months or even 3 months. So if you could take a chance on your BSc and learn it for 4 years or whatever, you should give yourself time to learn and to master those skills before you actually go out to look for jobs. After say 6, 8 months, what you should actually be considering is getting an internship, right? Not coming on Twitter. I know it's good to look for a job, but I feel like at that point you're feeling entitled.
Mm.
Because if I have a company, I wouldn't employ someone that just learn, especially self-taught engineers for 6 3 months. Let's just be sincere. So what I'll say is whatever approach you want to start, if you are going on YouTube to learn, because I mean YouTube is free. If you are going on YouTube to learn, don't just like watch the videos. Learn by doing it and give yourself grace. Give yourself a target. You can even like say, write down this thing. This is who I want to become in the next 1 year. Then you map out a plan. I'm going to learn Python for 3 months. I'm going to learn Python for 2 weeks. After that, I'm going to move to SQL. I'm going to do this. This way, you're going to be realistic with yourself and not just move from Python to SQL to Power BI because you're trying to like rush everything. So if you're going to have like a clear and concise map of I'm going to learn this thing, then you know that I'm not just going to learn this thing and overburden myself. I'm going to be realistic with my journey, right? I'm going to learn this thing. If I pick a language, C++, HTML, I'm not going to give myself 1 week. Who learns HTML in 1 week, please? Nobody. Even the people that have the YouTube channels and whatever, they cannot learn that thing in one 1 week. I spoke with a friend the other day. I was just kidding and was like, okay, I was like, teach me to be a software engineer because he's a software engineer. And I want to be your PA, so I'll learn to be a software engineer in 1 month. The guy was literally laughing. I was kidding. He was telling me that he used, because he has been a software engineer he completed his bachelor's and he's doing master. He used all these years to learn software engineering, which he's still learning, and you want to learn it in 1 month. That is not possible. So that is the same advice I'm going to give everybody that is trying to switch into IT or whatever. Give yourself the grace. You can learn by doing, but give yourself the grace. Set realistic timelines for each thing you want to learn and have like a map that after Python, I'm learning this. After this, I'm learning this. Google is free. There's literally everything you want to learn. And you first have to map out this. I want to be a data analyst. I want to be a software engineer. What skills do I need to learn? What languages do I need to learn? Then you now give yourself, I'm using this period to learn Python. I'm using this period to learn C++. Don't just jump from Power BI to Tableau because you read on LinkedIn that Power BI is the new happening thing.
Yeah.
So you jump on that when you've not really like gained your ground on Python.
Mm.
So that is what I'm going to say. Then, if you are looking to start a career in IT, be sure to be someone that is never tired of learning because you know that technology is ever advancing. You are still trying to know everything about this one. Then they say, oh, we are migrating to this one. And for instance, somebody like me, data visualization, I learned a lot of it in Tableau. Then I went and joined a company that is partnering with Microsoft, and all their systems are Microsoft. And you know, Microsoft has their Power BI. So invariably, the company does not use Tableau, they use Power BI. So when you are learning, also have in mind that you will never stop learning because I mean, you might know R for data analytics only to go and get a job and they are using SAS for the analytics. So be ready to make that switch and learn that. So I'm going to end by saying that reminding you of, again, giving yourself the grace, right? You cannot learn everything in 3 months. Let's be realistic. Coupled with the issues of light, internet, and I mean, you also have to know that, okay, if I have a full-time job now and I'm trying to switch to IT, that my full-time job does not have to suffer, right? Because I mean, that is what is going to fund you till you're able to get a job. So give yourself the grace, set realistic timeline for yourself. If you're learning this thing, you learn by doing. Don't watch videos, follow videos. So I'm going to stop there and then we'll get to the question side then. I'll answer whatever questions you have. Thank you.
All right, all right. So thank you very much, Mr. But our father. It's really inspiring. Your journey has been a great one from chemical engineering down to data analytics, and then so it's an inspiring one. And then we say thank you for that insightful and then presentation. So I think we'll reserve questions for till the end of the session, so we'll get to get just hear everyone out and then hear the speakers out before we get entertain questions. So I think we are transitioning to the next person we want to call now, and then I want to reserve the best for the last, which is Voluti but I want to call Mr. Khalid Oladipo. He's been my boss. I don't know if he's online currently. I tried him the first time, he wasn't online. So if he's still online, I can you just say hi or let me hear your audio, Khalid Oladipo. Okay, so
Yeah,
I want to get my boss. My boss is been the UI boss. Everything about brand designing and so I connected with him one certain time and was willing to help, assist whenever I have issues. He's just ready to help. And then it's this kind of people we need, and then the kinds of personalities we need in the tech industry. I want to give you the room now to get to share your experiences, what you've had in your journey, and then to for everyone to hear. So I give you the floor now, Mr. Khalid Oladipo. Welcome, boss.
yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Well, when you chatted me about this initiative, I was so happy because I'm always eager to share my experience, most especially how I started and the journey through to this
Mm,
extent. Okay,
mm,
I'm going to be very brief about it because of time. So my name is Khalid Koiki. I am always looking for the next opportunity to make a change the design way. So I have over half a decade experience working with several brands as brand identity and UI designer. Okay, but currently I'm design lead for a procurement company in the in the UK. It's called Luxford. So uh, my own perspective, I'm going to come from the direction of imploring beginners, upcomers to be consistent and persevere through their journey. It's very, very important. And I'm going to use myself as an example. Okay, I started back in 2014, and the journey was quite rough for me because back then I was out of secondary school, and there was really nothing much. I was just working in a factory, and I just said to myself, I've always been the creative type anyway from day one. But I said to
mm,
myself, I needed to digitize my creativity because I used to do art and crafts. And so when I took that decision, I never knew what the future held for me. But I mean, I just thought that was my passion, and I knew that my passion would definitely give me something worthwhile. So I got my laptop then, and I started the journey. Fast forward a year after that, I gained admission to the University of Lagos, and that kind of paved the way for me because of the connection and everything that I built around that. But some sad occurrences happened while I was in my year two. My year one was quite rosy, but my year two was really, really bad because my laptop got spoiled and it got stolen. When I was planning to repair, it got stolen where I was staying then in school. My phone got spoiled as well. Then I did some part-time jobs while I was on campus and got another laptop. It got stolen again that same month, and it was sort of a blessing in disguise, sha, because that session was like the best of my session while I was in school because there was nothing really. There was really nothing I was doing on the side. It was just from class to the mosque and all of those things, and I had the best result really. But then I said to myself, this is what I was passionate about, and I remembered why I started. So what I did was, um, I started making friends in the mosque to see who I could use their laptop in their spare time. So, and then also what I did was I made a resolution for myself that Um, from that time onward till when I finished, because I did a 4-year course. From that time onward till when I finished, by the time I finish, from that time, I want to be recognized. I want my name to be recognized such that if anything wants to come up on campus that has to do with design and names of creative designers have been outlined, my name should be on that list. And to God be the glory, I actually achieved that by the time I finished. In my final year, there's hardly no faculty events that my name doesn't pop up. But for some reason or another, I turned them down because of time and the school and all of that. Plus, I was the course rep of my class, so I really had ample of time. So yeah, so point is, I achieved what I said for. But I mean, if I didn't have that resolution at that time, uh, and of course, it kept on ringing in my head. If I didn't have the resolution, I probably would not get to where I am. And that resolution was what always kept me going. So then I remember then whenever we finish classes, I always go to class with my laptop. And my classmates usually make jest of me. Like whenever I tell them to like get me carry my bag, usually like heavy, all those big laptops now. But they used to just make jest of me that why are you always carrying this everything and all of that. But I knew where I was going. So after class, I'll just up on some voluntary stuff, do them, and at the end of the day, it eventually paid off. Fast forward, so yeah, after my final year, when I finished, I'd already had so many designs that I've done to fill my portfolio. So I remember going for an interview in OPE, and I mean, we all know OPE came to Nigeria. I think that was around 2019 or 18 or thereabouts when they launched this whole food and all of those things. So I went for their interview, and we had quite a number of guys there, good guys, but we're shortlisted to two. We went through rigorous interview sessions, and I was lucky to be part of the two that was retained then. Uh, Not because I was the best, but communication wise, presentation wise, and when they looked at my portfolio, I had a lot of things to present to them. And I mean, I remember at some point, one of the Chinese guys that interviewed us was like, "Oh, you did all of this when he was looking through my portfolio?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Wow." So, long story short, I was retained, and before the OPay thingy happened, when Lagos State banned bike and all of that, and then I left. And then when I left, leaving there was like a blessing in disguise too, because I added OPay to my portfolio. It really skyrocketed whatever I had. So the brand that I went to work with afterwards were like, "OPay, are you coming from OPay? Why are you serious?" Then the pay was like, I had not even served. It was the next company that I served with. So, but then I was already collecting like full staff salary, even without serving. But because I have already built myself to that time. Now, where I'm going is when I started my journey, it was very, very challenging with the laptop getting stolen and all of those things. Uh, I just had to keep pressing forward. Okay. And because I knew that uh, if I didn't do that, people that were looking up to me, people that I left back at home, okay, because at the end of the day, not like money was the inspiration, but then when you look back and you see where you're coming from, you definitely want to like push harder, okay. Plus, because I know where I was going to, um, even though the future wasn't like promising, but then you just knew that if you do, you know that there's some certain steps that you take in your life, and you know that okay, God is actually not a partial God. Okay, so when you do some certain things right, stepping in the right direction, you definitely get there, and eventually we're here today. So my advice to basically to people coming up would just be that you need to persevere. I've had the opportunity to mentor some upcoming guys, but most of these guys don't want to chill. They feel like because someone has told them that you can learn this thing, just like my sister said earlier on, that you cannot learn these things in 3 months. Don't let anybody deceive you. It's very, very mythical. I mean, look at where we are, and we're still learning. Like the first speaker said, we're still learning because at the end of the day, the tech world is evolving. So you definitely still learn. There's no limitation to learning at the end of the day. So you cannot say that after 3 months you get high paying jobs and all of this. That's like a very big fat lie. Okay, so you need to keep pushing forward. irrespective of the challenges. And in my head right now, I already have like an idea of the questions that might pop up, but then I'll just wait for them to come out eventually. But at the end of the day, you need to keep pushing forward, no matter the challenge you face, because the future, there's enough green light in the future. Don't let anybody tell you that the industry is saturated. There's nothing like that. People used to tell me there are no jobs for the creatives, that there's no job and all of that. I've been doing this for a while, there's no job. Are you employable? That's one part. Um, are you building the right connect? Are you in the right community? All of these things are what you ask yourself. So when you do all of these things right, you definitely find yourself doing well. And I'll leave by saying this, or I'll end my session by saying this. At this point of my life now, I've gotten to a stage where I've never even done it. Like advertise my work, put something out there and be like, I design logo, I design this, come and patronize. I have never done it before. Right from day one, my work has always spoken for me. Not because I am the best of the best, but number one, communication skills, all those soft skills that's built around being a creative person. All of those things we had up. And at the end of the day, your work will speak for you. Okay, but at the end of the day, you need to keep pushing forward so that uh, by the time you're going and you look far back, you really, really appreciate the decisions that you've taken. So thank you very much. I'll wait for questions afterwards.
All right, that was really a wonderful one, boss. His journey has spoken more about perseverance, and then getting to press on despite irrespective of the challenges at hand. So we've had that from our brand designer, and some key takeaways from that is that you have to persevere and then always get to push on and then be persistent about it, so you don't get to give up, and then when you face challenges and then you just what comes to your mind is now to give up. So that shouldn't come to your mind, but you should keep perseverance at the forefront of your journey. So thank you very much, my boss, Khalid. And then we'll move over to the next person, which is Bolutife Awakan. I want to have you live now. Bolutife Awakan, are you live? Are you there right now? Okay, so you get
Yeah.
to. All
Hi,
right, so
everybody.
the floor is yours. Yes,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you. Hi. Please confirm that you can hear me and see my screen.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Hi, guys. It's been a wonderful session. Back to back. I want to appreciate most of the speakers who had gone ahead of me because they raised very vital points, and I hope that everybody was taking notes and stuff. Right. I'm going to rush through my slides. That I'm guessing we don't have much time anymore. But yeah, I'm Bolitife. I'll just briefly introduce myself. I'll be speaking more to the women this evening. Hey, because there are certain things, right? I believe that the popular adage that says what a man can do, a woman can do better, right? So there's really a lot of different things going on out there. Oh, sorry, I don't think you guys can see me. Can you?
Yes, we can. We can. You're live.
No, we can't.
No, we can't.
Okay, how do I do this? All right, so okay, can you see me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so what I was saying before around one man can do, women can do, right? I know some people will still disagree, and some people will be like, nah, I've tried it and it's not working, so let me not bother myself, right? I know it's very hard like that to keep up. Right. So briefly, I'll just so I'm a senior brand designer. I lead the brand and design team Attraction here in Nigeria. I'm a Christian, I love photography. My favorite brand is Apple. I was born in October, so my birthday is coming very soon. I love music. I wear a lot of sneakers. And I have about 8 years of experience in design, branding, marketing, printing, and stuff like that. All right, so I'll move on quickly to my next slide. So my first statement would be women make up a significant portion of the consumer market, right? I think the proportion is 1.03 to 1.05, right? Men to female to male, right? And so that makes us not just consumers, right? That doesn't make us inferior. It makes us like we are also up to the task, right? Because we're like the same number as the men, or like almost, right? So but we're not just consumers, we're trendsetters, we're decision makers. And there's something very unique about women. We're going to go into that most along the line, right? Because women holds like very unique perspective that I've not seen in men. I'm not trying to shade anybody here, but I'm just hyping my women. All right, so my story, right, from the beginning of I studied sciences as well, like almost all my life. I studied food technology, mostly food science and engineering at the Yaba College of Technology. So I started designing right there as well, right to school. I think my second year or so. My story is very long and intriguing, anyways, but I'll leave sharing it fully for another time, so it can avail us much time, right? But over time, I've had to balance a lot of things, life, work, family, a lot of things like that. I have to rush home from work, or have to like, I'm not married yet, but I have to rush home to cook for my parents and stuff like that. It's not very, palatable sometimes. You just have to like rush off and get stuff done, do house chores when I have like workload waiting for me sometimes, especially when I'm even working from home, right from the time during the lockdown, right, and stuff like that. And then navigating stereotypes was also a huge challenge for me while I was learning. It was more like there are certain people who just believe that she's a woman, she can't do much or she can't do as much, right? So yeah, I was faced with some stuff like that as well. But I'm really grateful to people who started to believe in me anyways, because without that first person like taking a chance on me, I probably wouldn't be here today, right? But there was that as well. And then those times when you want to you have like huge lot of work, and you have like PMS and stuff like that. You just need to get this cramp away from here, right? I need to do work, right? But a lot of people don't see that. They just want results. A lot of clients, they don't know what you're going through and stuff like that. That's been my story as well. So you're not alone in this tech journey. We have a lot of rights, right? So I'll be talking about like certain things, which is like I'm going to draw my anchor from, which is like finding focus and on how like to thrive in tech, in design, especially for brand designers. That would be like finding focus. First, you need to like define your passion, your purpose, very important. It is the anchor. It's going to be like the true north for you. Excuse me. It's going to be like your true north when things get tough, when things get rough. You remember what made you start in the first place, and it drives you back, right? You get fired up again. I can't remember if it was the first lady or the second lady that talked about when things were tough. She remembered why she started and she went back, right? So that's going to happen, trust me. There are going to be times where you're going to feel like, nah, this is not for me. It's not going well. The things are not just moving right? But you need to find your true north. And that would be like your passion, your purpose, right? Why did you start tech in the first place? If your motivation is money, you need to rethink that. I think that's been mentioned more than many times already on this call. If your motivation is money, motivation in tech is money, you need to reverse, because it's not a get rich quick scheme, right? You need to like put in the work, and it takes some time. There are people who get lucky, right? But it is not a formula to say that you're going to just blow and start earning $10,000, $20,000 in a month, right? So yeah, that's also very important, right? And then continuous learning, you don't stop learning, you keep moving. And when you move, you practice. When you learn, you practice as well. I think a lot of people have also mentioned that on this call, so I'm going to move quickly from that. Another part is networking. It's also very important because you do not have to do this on your own, right? There are certain people who have gone ahead, and I'm grateful for this call, right, that's happening, and how a lot of people can tap into stuff like this and learn from people who have gone ahead, so you can easily find your focus, right? Learn to meet people. I think I'm grateful. Khalid said something around he has not been like putting out come and patronize me kind of thing, or marketing himself as much. I don't think I've done that as well. I think because I hold relationships so dear. I hold like meeting people. It's very underrated, honestly. When you're meeting people, when they say your network is it's not a cliche. actually it is the truth, right? So you need to also like put that into perspective. Meet people and meet the right people, people that align with your purpose. And that's why I said define purpose is like the first part, right? People that like, if you meet people, it's not just like throwing yourself out to everybody you meet to say, oh yeah, this is me, help me, and stuff, right? So you need to have like a purpose, and you have people who align with that purpose. And when you see them, you just know, trust me. And then you guys will just connect, and they'll sort of make way for you or help you out in some certain ways and stuff like that, right? And then building resilience as a woman, right? You need to embrace failure. I know in this part of the world, we're like very, very religious and stuff and whatnot, right? So I think that we should actually say this, because failure is very, very is a vital ingredient to success, right? People may not say a lot, but it is, right? You get a lot of people who say it's not every time you get it just at once, right? It's not every time you do something and you get it straight like that. You are going to like do some trials, you are still going to test the waters. Things may not work out the way you want it to be at the first instance, but you need to take a step back and then reevaluate, what did I do wrong? How did I do this wrong? What can I do better? And you go again, and that's where you get to meet like your targets and whatnot, right? And then self-care is also very important. You guys need to like take care of yourselves, sleep well, right? So you're in tech does not mean that you should, put yourself in like jeopardy. You need to like take care of yourself, eat well, sleep well. It's very important, because you need strength to fight. And if you want to fight, you cannot fight very weak. You need to like be up and doing, right, most of the time, right? And then develop grit. Things will not work out every time, like I said before, right? Grit is like you have like this hard work in you that's going to like get you to the place that you want to be, right? You need something to drive you, and you need to take it very personally, because this journey that we are in, this life, is not easy, and nobody's going to hand stuff up to like, just take this stuff. I feel like dashing you 100 million, just take. You have to work for it. Really have to work for it, and that's very important. All right, so support is also very important in like building resilience. It's not just about you falling and getting back up. It's more about who are the people that you surround yourselves with. Who are your support systems? Who are the people that are rooting for you? Who are the people that love you and are working for your success, right? Those are the kind of people you need to surround yourself with. So if you're seeing negative energy, please move. Negative energy is not allowed, right? Especially if you're just finding your feet. When you have grown to a certain level, you'll be like, nah, I don't care and stuff. But if you're just finding your feet, it's also very important, right? And then to thrive, you need to leverage three things, right? There are things that I think women have that distinguishes us a lot from a lot of men, especially in design and branding, for example, right? So leverage intuition. A woman's intuition, they say, never goes wrong, right? So there's that, right? So a woman, you need intuition as a valuable asset in branding, in design, and stuff like that, because you need to be able to trust your instincts to make certain decisions sometimes, right? But you just know, as a woman, sometimes you just know this is the right step and you just do it. So you need to leverage on that to thrive in branding and design. You also need to embrace inquisitiveness. I know women already have this. We're always inquisitive, because they say that inquisitiveness brings curiosity, and curiosity brings innovation. So you need to like embrace inquisitiveness. That don't let it be like you ask a lot of questions. Don't let people turn you down when you ask questions. Be curious, be inquisitive, ask questions, read stuff voraciously, right? Consume knowledge. You need that, right, to thrive. And then utilize your nurturing spirit. Every woman is the potential mother, whether I like it or not, right? It's an innate ability. We have it there. And for every brand, like I always tell people, you are nurturing the brand. As a brand manager, as a brand designer, a brand and communications expert, or whatever you're doing, you are nurturing a brand from the place of childhood to when it's going to grow, because we always say that, right? So you need to also like embrace that ability, right, to be able to do all of that. All right, so okay, so yeah, so intuitiveness will help you like spot trends. What are the things happening in tech? What are the things happening in marketing, in branding these days? And then you need authenticity to be able to create brands that people love, right? So that also that ability is also very good, right? It also helps you move faster and get the right decisions a lot faster, and you'll be able to understand consumer needs and stuff like that. And inquisitiveness, you ask the right questions, you'll be able to like continuously learning, based on the feedback that you've gotten, the research that you've done, you get to learn more. And then you get to be like customer empathetic towards customers. You are more about what kind of product do we need to build for these customers that will make them, love us more or stay with us more or use our products more, right? Stuff like that. All right, so I'm going to go to questions. Sorry, I had to rush through my slides because of time and stuff. But I hope I was able to keep it to my allotted time.
Yes.
Thank you.
You did marvelously well. You spoke about this. Your message was clearly to women, and then for them to define their purpose and then surround themselves with individuals who share that purpose. Then they should always be open to embracing failures as a part of their growth journey, develop personal growth continuously, trust your intuition, ask questions to gain understanding, and actively seek knowledge. So that was really a wonderful one, Bolutifer and our friend. I want to take out this time to entertain questions. If you have questions, this is an opportunity for you to ask. And there was question for Miss Chisom before your session was over, and someone asked a question that you've not really talked about how you landed the Microsoft job. What was what was the process like? So how did you get to land the job in Microsoft, and then how was the process like? So you get to emphasize more on that, and then so we get to hear you out. So Ms. Chisom, are you there, Lani?
Yes, I'm here. So sorry, I think my network cut me off at some point, but let me give I won't really present. I'll just give like a storyline, honestly, so you guys can relate to it more. So like I mentioned in my first, when I was speaking, I mentioned that Microsoft was a company I was really passionate about. I didn't know why, but I just wanted to work there. And people have this misconception that if you want to work for a big tech company, you need a lot of experience. I had that misconception as well. I'll usually tell my mom that when I get 5 years of experience working in other companies, Microsoft will finally hire me. But I didn't know that it will come this early. So I applied to Microsoft as a new graduate. I was in my 300 level when I got the job to work full time. And I would say the process was a lot, right? First, it started with me getting into tech, first of all, learning how to code, the usual stuff, building projects, putting it on your resume, and all of that. So I knew that I was good technically. At least I knew how to code. I knew Java at that time. I was an Android developer. And so I needed to work on other things like my social media presence. I'm very skeptical about speaking about social media presence to people that are just starting out in tech, because people make this mistake of being so loud on social media and neglecting the fact that they might not know enough, or they are just starting out in their careers. So by social media, I mean, I started writing articles. I was writing articles on Android development. I was posting it on LinkedIn. I started building a very small brand. I wanted people to see me as a student that didn't really have experience, but also somebody that can add value to a firm. So while I was doing all of that, I attended a call like this in 2020. That call had engineers from Google and Facebook. And after that call, I reached out to someone that spoke on that call. She had a job offer from Facebook, and I reached out to her. I told her, I never knew this is possible. Can you please guide me to just show me how you were able to get into Facebook? Although I wasn't looking forward to get into Facebook, I wanted to get into Microsoft, but it was like a similar trajectory, right? And what actually inspired me about this was that all the people that attended the calls went to University of Lagos. So I also had this misconception that big tech companies are not for Nigerians, in quotes, because I went to Nigerian university. And this sort of like wowed me, because people still have that misconception till date that probably if you went to Nigerian university You can't work in this kind of companies. Probably you have to work at MIT or Cambridge or all of that. But these guys actually graduated from Unilag the previous year. And that was what really inspired me. I'm like, okay, if they can do it, that means it's very possible. And that was one of the reasons I wrote my book, to make people more aware of these opportunities and to know that they're also eligible. So back to my story, she gave me like some guidance. I sent my resume to her. She did a little bit of reviewing. And then I started applying. I applied to so many tech companies. In fact, I think I applied to over 50 tech companies, but within that range, there were like mostly big tech companies: Palantir, Bloomberg, Netflix, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America as well, and so many other companies, right? So for Microsoft, since I'm trying to make this directed to Microsoft, while I was posting my articles on LinkedIn, somebody that works at Microsoft reached out to me and she told me, "Oh, Chisom, I've been seeing what you've been posting on LinkedIn. Are you done with school?" I told her no. She was like, "Okay, Microsoft is hiring new graduates that are about to graduate from the university." And she asked if she could refer me. I'm like, "Why are you asking me if you want to refer me? Is that the question or rhetorical?" And I was like, "Yes, please." And it was so it was really fascinating because I was asking myself, okay, if I didn't really put myself out there, if I wasn't posting those articles on LinkedIn, would she have even seen me in the first place? And that boils down to the whole personal branding thing that I was doing. And I was posting these articles. I would write articles on Medium. People wouldn't like these articles. People wouldn't like my post or comment or repost. But did that discourage me? No, because I knew exactly what I wanted. And she referred me for the role, but it's a shock you to know that I had applied for that role previously, but I didn't get a call back. But the moment she referred me for that role, Microsoft reached out to me with an interview request. And so I don't know how to really structure this story, but for you that wants to, if you're on the call and you're aspiring to work for a big tech company, I would say a couple of things are involved. We'll first of all start with like the technical interviewing. That one is very important. Your data structures and algorithm knowledge. There's so many things to learn. Is it arrays? Is it linked list, heaps, stacks, queues? I mean, it's a whole different dynamic, right? So technical interviews is something that you really need to be good at. You should be able to solve those problems, lead code, HackerRank. There's so many books that you could read on algorithms. It's like a grind. It's like reading for a degree exam. It's a whole lot. So if you want to work for mostly big tech companies, that's what you should focus on. Then secondly would be system design. Big companies are also really big on system design. You should know how to design basic parts of the system. They might tell you to design like a product like Uber, a product like Netflix, a product like Twitter. I'm saying products. Design like the main engineering back end of this product. So they're going to be asking you things like scalability, things like caching, latency, and all of that. But just your basic knowledge of those things, databases and all. Then moving forward to behavioral interviews. These interviews are a lot, trust me. And I feel like a call should even be dedicated to talking about these interviews. So the last thing you'll be doing is behavioral interviews, where they'll be asking you things about yourself. Now, I'm not saying they'll be asking you things like, what's your best color? What's your best food? No. They're going to be asking you about several situations that you have handled as a leader, as a technical professional, or even as a student. But because my role was more aligned to a new graduate role, they asked me questions around leadership in school. If I had led a project, if I have had challenges leading a project, have I ever had issues with a colleague or a fellow student? How did I handle those issues? So the point of these questions is just to understand how you think as a person and just to understand how much you can handle things that are not so easy. And if you have actually assumed the position of being a leader, right? So they're trying to find out different things about you, but in a very crafty way, So I'm not saying that these questions is something you can memorize because there are a lot. If you go on Google now to type behavioral questions, there are a lot. But the basic things like tell me about yourself is something that you should have at the back of your hand. Now, I'm not saying like a regular tell me about yourself. Oh, my name is Chisom. I am a front-end developer, and that is all. I took about 1 week to craft a perfect tell me about yourself question, the answer to that question. I wrote it down on a 1 page and I memorized everything. And I made sure that I was able to recite this in 1 minute. So tell me about yourself is not a regular question. I keep telling people it's a question that you have to give detailed replies to in a very short period of time. Other questions about leadership as well. In any form at all, any place that you have been a leader, these are questions that you should start practicing beforehand. And if there's time, I would have talked about the whole STAR technique, but I mean, it's something that you can read up online. Then I think that's basically it. The technical interviews, the system design, the behavioral interviews. If you can get referrals, good and fine, because the application window is super large and referrals just take your application out of that pool and push it forward to like where the hiring manager will see all of that. Other things will be your resume and your resume, your skill set, and every other thing that concerns you. Because even if they refer you and your resume isn't up to par, nobody's going to accept you. So work on your resume. I've seen a lot of bad, very bad resumes, right? Few tips would be your resume shouldn't be more than 1 page. Your resume should be very specific to a role. If you're applying for a front-end engineering role, make sure everything on your resume is reflecting everything about front-end. I don't want to see your student fellowship leadership inside your resume or the fact that you were working in an advertising agency as a social media agent. No, none of that is related to front end, so it shouldn't be on your resume. And also other things like your social media presence as well, because they're going to check your LinkedIn, they're going to check your GitHub as well. So I can't really give a summary of all these things, but if you know me, you know I'm a very big fan of letting people into the door. And that was the only reason I wrote my book, because all this information is really a lot to grasp. So if you have opportunity of reading that book or even getting that book, I feel like it will guide you more and to just give you a more detailed explanation of everything I'm explaining now.
All right, so that's really a wonderful one. Like I am just imagining myself getting to work on all those things now. So I
Yeah,
can
it's a
one
lot.
day, yes, one day get to work with a big tech company, hopefully. And then thank you very much for that insight. I don't know if that has clarified the whole question about getting to work and navigate into big tech companies. I don't know if anyone has questions for Mrs. Chisholm, Miss Chisholm rather. Anyone has any other question? Okay, in the absence of none, I want to refer to a question that was once asked. This is directed to Mr. Bot Afaga, that they would like to know how well data analytics can help local businesses in Nigeria. That was a question I had from one of the forms. If you can hear me, Mr. Bot Afaga, how well data
Yeah, I can.
analytics can help local businesses in Nigeria.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can hear you.
Yeah, I'm going to use myself as an example. I actually wanted to touch on this when I was speaking, then it just like skipped my mind. So when we think of data analytics, we feel like it's all about big companies using data in big data marts. I know that is true, but to a point, even in your personal life, you can use data analytics, right? There was a time I was selling perfume oils and I wasn't selling it physically. I was selling it online, majorly on Facebook. And I never posted it like on my WhatsApp, like people come and buy, come and buy. What I did was to create a page and then I do sponsored ads on those page and was selling those perfumes. Now that is a small business, right? I didn't have a shop, I didn't have anything. It was just literally me living my life in my room. Now, how did data analytics help me in that situation? What I did was when I ran the first post, I was skeptical about spending, let's say, because yeah, they're going to ask you how much you want to spend, right? So I was skeptical about if I had 5,000 naira to spend on the advert on Facebook. What I did was to first initiate the advert for 2 days. Then I went to the analytics part of the advert and looked at the people that were viewing my post the most. So what I did after those 2 days, based on the people that were viewing those posts, I now did a targeted advert at those people, right? It makes no sense for me to advertise, say, something that young people use to an older age group. So that is the best thing. That is using data to guide your business. First, whether you are into catering or whatever, you use data analytics. First, you do not treat all your customers the same. That is why we have customer segmentation in data analytics. You classify people, I'm sorry to use this, into problem clients. You know them. So you know people that are most likely to give you problems based on your relationship with them, based on your experiences with them. So you kind of like keep that data one side, segment those people, and know how to treat them differently. Then you also know that if I'm running a small business, these are the people I'm speaking to. So my adverts, my flyers has to like speak those people's language. How do you know all of these things? First off, is it you cannot go and be sometimes it's easier. You can just like I do it on my WhatsApp, post something on WhatsApp and like or on Instagram. Will you prefer this or this? I'm just collecting data from people because I don't want to be going to people's DM to say, will you Emmanuel, will you prefer this or this? Right? So just by posting it on your story, you'll see that oh, when I was selling this thing as 10K, people were not really buying. Does it make sense that if I reduce it to 9K and I'm able to sell two of it, it's better than me keeping it at 10K? Does it make sense that if I will I be able to afford making a flyer? So these are all data-driven decisions, right? Whether it's a big business or a small business, you use data to make decisions. And how do you do this? You go about, oh, this is what happened last week when I did this. How can this shape my future decision? So that is one way to use data in your small business. You can also use it for to analyze your sales, to know if you need to hire someone or not. There's this thing in Nigeria which makes a whole lot of sense to me that let's say people that are vendors, they'll be like, we will get back to you. When the we is actually them, it makes a whole lot of sense because they have analyzed their income and they know that they cannot afford to hire a graphic designer right now, right? So why don't you just go on Canva and be your own graphic designer? Who is going to know you design, that the CEO designed the graphics himself? Nobody cares. Even if they care and know, it's actually a plus, right? So there are so many ways you can drive your business insights and even make better decisions and even gain more sales through data analytics in your business. You cannot go and see that there are 5 coffee shops in this place. There's nothing so special about your coffee that you need to open a coffee shop in that place, right? So you've analyzed the place and you see that there's already people existing selling women's clothes in this street. It makes sense that I take it to another place. And if by chance I really want to be there, I have to do something differently.
All right, all right.
I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes, that was very explanatory to start with. Thank you very much for that. I don't know if the person has is clarified about that. So before then, let's move on to the next question. We have a question for Ms. Chisomoko. We have, please, how can people learn how to start programming simple apps? Maybe coming from the the background of Android development and so on. And then we have, how did you deal with, how can someone deal with intense imposter syndrome? So you get to share more light about that more. So how can someone start learning programming simple apps? That's quite explanatory. And then how can someone deal with intense imposter syndrome? So Ms. Chisomoko,
Okay.
like to have you answer that.
For the first question, building simple applications on Android, I would say that you should pick the stack that you want to build on. Is it Kotlin, like native Android, or cross-platform React and Flutter, or you want to build iOS using Swift? Once you actually figure out what exactly you want to use in building, follow tutorials first of all, so you see like a guide to how these things are being built from the front end side of things to the back end side, and how these things are linked together, the databases. So what I did before I launched my app on Play Store was I watched a lot of tutorials. I noticed that most of these tutorials had a lot of patterns to them. Some people would start with the back end and build it up to the front end, while some people would do it the other way around. So when I noticed that pattern, I just figured out the one I would love to follow, and that sort of like guided me into building something of my own. As for imposter syndrome, I would say that imposter syndrome is very normal. It's something that the best of us face, even if you meet a senior engineer or a manager or an intern or junior engineer, they will still tell you a lot about imposter syndrome. So I would say try to celebrate the little things that you have been able to achieve. It might not be so big, it might seem so small to you, but those are the things that can help you sort of like audit and just tell yourself that you're doing this thing. And the thing with learning a tech skill is that if you're constantly learning something day by day, where you are at 2 months ago is not where you are, is not where you're currently going to be like at the present time, right? So if you look back 2-3 months, you understand that there are some things that you didn't know, and now you know them. Those are the things that you should actually be grateful and sort of like appreciate how far you have come. So I do this thing where I journal down things. Even currently now that I'm working, I journal down things that I have done that have gotten some certain kind of applause or appreciation from my colleagues or my managers. And each time imposter syndrome comes and I'm like, oh, I'm not meant to be here, did they make a mistake employing me? I look back in that notebook and I see all the beautiful things that I've been able to do, all the things I've been able to accomplish, and it just has a way of encouraging me to just keep going forward. So first of all, I would say imposter syndrome is very normal, but it's going to be very bad if you let it get the best of you. It's meant to exist, but you have the power to fight it off as it comes.
Okay, that's a wonderful one, really wonderful. Thank you very much, Mara, Ms. Chisholm. That's a good one. Let's check out for any other question. I think next one was Bolutife. What is your purpose? How did you find your purpose, and how does that drive you? So that's directed to you, Ms. Bolutife Awakan. What is your purpose? How did you find it? And how does that drive you?
That's all shades of personal. Who asked that question? But yeah, pretty interesting. That's a good one. Yeah. All right. So for me, I'd say that for my purpose, I'd say it is, I always put it everywhere I do, like my professional purpose would be to build thriving brands that people love. People in sense that employees, customers, investors, manage, everybody that comes in contact with that brand that I have worked on must love it. And the brand must also like be growing in revenue and stuff. So that's my professional purpose, right? And it comes from a place of like different things eventually got me there. And that would be passion, my values, my skill sets, and experience along the line, right? So all of these things like work together. First, you need to like understand, what do I have, right? What skills do I have? What makes me unique, right? If I'm not somewhere, what would they miss? I mean, I ask myself some very, very crazy questions sometimes, right? Because I just want to find answers or search within myself, right? I do a lot of like introspection. I do a lot of self-reflection, right? Just to be able to know myself to a certain extent that I love myself so much that nothing everybody else wants to tell me will also like move me, because I know myself to a certain extent and I love the way I am, right? Because and that's some of things are actually like brought together what my purpose looks like, right? And also experiences. Over the years, I've worked with several brands. I've seen what people want. I've seen all brands want results. They want numbers. They want revenue. They want signups. They want this one. They want that one. All of them is numbers, right? And because of that, I built myself in such a way that I am somebody that when anybody wants numbers or they want results, like tangible results, forget I'm a designer or a brand expert, right? I am there. I'm always like ready to always get that out of there. And one way that drives me is when I mentioned before that when the going gets tough, remember your purpose. Remember why you wake up every day, right? Nobody else has your kind of purpose because you are different people with different personalities, right? But as you grow and as you move, I mean, do certain things, you work with this person today, you work with this one tomorrow, it's opening up your mind, you're expanding your horizon, and then you're seeing that things are actually like endless. Opportunities are way endless, right? If somebody had told me that I could not achieve some of the things that I'm achieving today, I probably would have believed it some years back, but now I know better, right? So it's a different ball game when you know yourself to a certain extent, and it comes from a place of taking stock. This is what I've done. This one that I did got me to a good place. This one did not get me to a good place, so I'm going to stop it. So you need to constantly evaluate and reevaluate yourself. Try to search within yourself deeply. What skills do I have? What am I passionate about those skills, and how can I use it to better other people's life? What are the values I hold there? What are the things that if I do it today, people will be like, yeah, it has to be Bolu that did this thing, right? So you need to like create a mark for yourself as well. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll be able to answer the question.
Okay, that was really a wonderful one as well. And then I think we also have a question directed to you. So they wanted to answer all the questions, but it's fair because you're the latest celebrity. Where are we heading towards your birthday? Where are we heading? Like, where are you hosting the birthday? Everybody wants to come.
I'm heading in my house, please.
So all road leads to your house for your birthday celebration.
I'm going to be sleeping on my bed. Don't worry.
So
Happy
birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, happy birthday in advance.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the general question. He said, is it possible for someone that is currently not studying IT in school to become relevant in the IT world through online classes? I really love my boss, Mr. John, to expatiate more on this because you've already had this background. You're coming from this background, a different background from IT. So I think you have more knowledge to speak about this. So is it possible for someone that is currently not studying IT in school to become relevant in the IT world through online classes? So boss, over to you.
Yes, so the answer is a big yes. So you heard the speakers already made justice to some of these questions. And so really, for me, I don't think it really matters what you studied, at the uni. And I mean, so I've been in the UK and I've networked with a lot of tech professionals, and I think that it's not a necessity. Like a computer science degree or a tech degree is not a necessity to becoming a software engineer or a tech guru. It is not. Is it good that you have a tech background in your bachelor's? Yes. Why? Because you'll be exposed to basic fundamentals of computers and this computing generally, basic things about data structure and all. But even though, if you ask me, taking a look at the way the Nigerian educational system, like in terms of how the curriculum is designed, it really doesn't make any much of a difference apart from basic computing stuff. Yeah. So, but having said that, do not be put off by your academic background. I came from a financial background. I shared my story. I was already on my way to becoming a chartered accountant, and I stopped everything and I switched into tech. But here am I today. So what I'm trying to say is that it takes a lot of grit. I love the way Bolu Tifa put it. You need to exercise it. You need to show it. It takes a lot of hard work. It's not just a it's not just a simple thing to abandon your settled career, then you want to switch. It's not that easy. You need to be ready for the tasks ahead. You need to be ready to learn. You need to be ready to get your hands dirty. You need to be ready to spend time, and really work hard on some of the things you have learned. It's not just about learning. You learn and then you practice those things. You heard about Chisholm talked about, stuff like that. You heard Selba also talking about stuff like that. Yeah, so whatever you learn, document your journey and measure yourself. Have a few people you can talk to. You now it's even good that we have amazing communities right now. I know of like two or three communities in Lagos that you can be part of. I mean, they try to groom younger developers, and also there are a lot of resources out there, both in terms of trainings and networking that you can leverage on that can really, really be helpful. But above all, don't forget it is between you and what you want to become. So you need to put in all the hard work. You need to try and network as much as possible. You need to learn. You need to practicalize what you're learning, and you need to be patient with yourself. Like someone said, so tech is not like something you just enter like blood money tomorrow. You start hitting it big. It takes patience. It takes a season or a time of learning and relearning. It takes a season and a time of, you know, um, trying to grow your experiences and gain hands-on experiences. So you need to be patient with yourself and don't wait until you have the elephant offer. So something as good as having a 6 months, a 3 to 6 months career plan or learning plan. The first 2 3 months, use it for learning. Also doing some hands-on practicals. The next 3 months, you put into networking, looking for volunteering roles, looking for intense roles, things that can expose you to a proper development or a proper tech working environment. And then you're on your way to a very good tech journey. Yeah, so in summary, it is not a prerequisite that until you have a tech background, you that would guarantee that you be a good tech person. That's not true. Okay, so it all boils down to you, like what you want to make out of it.
Okay, okay. That's really a wonderful one. Thank you for that brief explanation. So thank you. And then we have another question here, like how can you prepare for a tech interview? I think Ms. Chisom has spoken extensively about that. So how can you prepare for a tech interview? So any of the speakers can just run a brief through that question. So
Yeah, I think I have something to contribute to what someone had said earlier. So it depends on some companies. Most companies like the big tech four, they have a standard, right? You need to pass through stages like 4 to 5 stages. The initial call, the codility or hacker rank, and then the D-Day that comprises of 3 or 4 stages or so. But that's for the big boys. But for other companies, the smaller ones, it could just be a case of if you're a developer, for example, a case of giving you a take-home test, to maybe write an API or something. and then you present to them in a form of a code sharing. You explain to them your reasoning, your outcome, and all of that, and then they will ask you questions about around what you are interviewing for. Another scenario could be maybe giving you a take-home hacker rank or codility, where you will now make use of your data structure and algorithm skill set that Chisom explained earlier, and then once you scale through, then you proceed in that process. But again, it is important to prepare both behavioral questions and then the technical questions. So don't feel like because you are a tech person, you know it all. So you need to. We talked about learning all the time. So before you go for an interview, there are two parts. The first is the technical part of the job based on the job description. And then the second is the behavioral, like the skill set, the mindset, the mentality, that is needed to succeed on that job. So you need to know exactly what is needed of you in terms of all these other skill set, other than the technical. Then there are also instances where you may be asked some um, practical situations of how you applied your behavioral skills. So you need to think of, they may ask, oh, tell us about the time you had conflict with your colleague. How did you resolve it? Stuff like that. Tell us about the time how you solve a problem, you got stuck or you failed, stuff like that. So in all, you have to be prepared. You need to know the basic questions for an interview, typical basic questions. Chisholm mentioned. First, can we meet you? Or tell us about yourself. Then there are other generic ones like what would you bring to the company if you are successful? Why are you the best for this role? What do you know about our company? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What are your career aspirations? So in 5 years, where do you hope to see yourself? So it's a combination of trying to do research about the company, read about them, know their core values, know their objectives, then go back and look at the job description, know some of the core requirements behaviorally for the job, take note of them, then look at the tech requirements, exactly what skills are needed. And I think once you have a good preparation, I think you're on your way to acing that interview. That's my honest opinion.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much, sir, for that. And then we have another question as well. So a step-by-step process or actions to be taken by someone who wants to get into tech or get involved in technology, and then apps to use, website to sign into, sites to boost or help improve performance of someone. I think all this is encapsulated in Chisholm's book. I think all this is encapsulated on Chisholm's book, and then so you could get to read about it. So if you want to know the step-by-step procedures, processes, or actions to be taken by someone, or if you want to just get into tech and then get to explore the tech world, so you could just grab a book and then get some insights about this particular question. So I don't know if that's clarified or if you're okay by that. There's some element, if you're okay by that. And then if there's any other question to start with. Is there any other question? But if to process, I want to know everyone.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
So I was asking Ms. Bolutife, how do females deal with stereotype in the tech industry? Because I noticed females experience this a lot. She said it herself. So how can a lady deal with these stereotypes?
Okay.
All right. So the simple question is, the simple answer would be, the short answer, sorry, would be a better person. And then the longer version would encompass like a lot of different things, right? So the tech industry is a male-dominated world. No doubt about that. It's going to be men versus women, right? But I approach it from an angle of we are not competing, we are collaborating, right? So when I meet people who are not diverse, who just believe that it's a man's world, I mean, you need to be like very constructive. You cannot approach it with like force, right? To say, no, 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 I'm a woman, you must respect me and stuff like that. No, you cannot do that, because it's going to aggravate all parties, and you're going to like lose at the end of the day, right? So you have to be very, very diplomatic and constructive in the way you particularly relate with people who are not technically like diverse, who do not see the world as a man or a woman's world, right? And some of the techniques that I use, right? I think we've talked about soft skills a lot on this call, and it's very important because it cannot be overemphasized, right? My mentor even calls it power skills. They are no longer soft skills, they are the power skills, because technical skills we get you through the door, but those soft skills are the ones that will keep you there, right? Because you need like emotional intelligence, a lot of it. And I'm sorry, it's not fair on us sometimes, because we have to be like the bigger person as women to be able to balance these things out. But you know what you are chasing, so you need to actually put in that extra work, right? And then you need to be better, right? Better than the person that they can relegate or the person that they can tell to go back. So you need to work extra hard, be very good, that nobody will be able to say, nah, she's not good enough, right? Nobody, even somebody that says it, other people will rise up to say, no, she's good, right? So stuff like that will also give you like a lot more confidence, right? And then, like I mentioned before, you need to also surround yourselves with people who support you. If you are constantly around people who are stereotypical, right, try to keep a distance, right? If you need them, maybe they're your boss or something, you know, you must work with them, but you need to be very careful, right? Tread carefully. If there are people that you can actually talk to, make them see your points, right? Let them know how you feel. That's why I say emotional intelligence is very important. You need to understand your emotions and people around you and be able to manage situations very well, right? So you need to also learn that as well, right? So you ask them politely and let them know how you feel, and then let them, if they don't see it that way, because there are people who actually don't know that they're like that. They don't know. There are people that I've been in situations where I deliver some projects, and there are people who will constantly refer to me as a man. Maybe they have not met me before, right? But over the email or something, I will tell them I'm not a woman. I'm not a man. I'm a woman, right? But they constantly refer to me as bro or boss or so many masculine terms, right? Because they cannot just wrap their hand around it's a woman that delivered this job, right? So sometimes it's always like that. You experience stuff like that. There are people who are still very shocked that there are women who can do these things. There are women who can code the best websites or code the best apps, right? There are people who are like that. So you need to also not be oblivious to that fact and be able to shield yourself to a certain extent, to a point where you are not hurt, and be able to also be confident enough, let your work speak for you, and be confident enough to actually speak to these people, let them know how you feel, and then ask them, give them constructive feedback on how they can actually approach stuff or relate with you, right, in a very constructive way, so that nothing is aggressive or anything like that. And if they're not confrontational people, you can avoid them, right? I mean, when you are faced like situations like that, it only takes the grace of God, and but you need to also like work at it as well. I hope I've been able to answer your question. If I have not, maybe we can
Yes,
take it.
thank you very much. You were very clear. I understand you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, do we have any more questions? Do we have any other questions from you all? Before we wrap up this tech talk, I want to encourage everyone to just get to pick up Miss Chisholm's book, a techie's guide into big tech companies. You could learn from seasoned tech professionals who has been through the ups and downs of the industry. You will find invaluable insight and advice to help you navigate your journey, and then you'll be amazed by what you learn, because it will take you through the pathways to understand different tech domains, from programming and development so data science and all those stuff. So I really employ that you get to have a grasp of Chisholm's book and then get to read about that. And then I pray that you get to grow as you do that. So I want to thank everyone that's taken out time despite your busy schedule. And then I want to say,
Ima, please, can you hold on? I have
Okay.
something to say.
Okay.
Yeah. So guys, I'm already thinking of how can we add value, right? So are there starters here, like people who want to, or who are at the stage of starting from scratch? Are there starters here?
Yes, there are. Yes.
They should speak up now. Are there starters? Is anybody here starting like a learner?
Yes.
You want to start a career in tech?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So so Chukuma, what part of tech do you want to major in?
Of data analytics.
Oh, okay. So have you started learning, or what's the plans?
Okay, I've started learning. I've been learning for 6 months, though I'm still learning. I'm looking for volunteering roles and intern roles, but it's hard to see any. So I could practicalize all I've learned and all that.
Okay. Is there any other person here? Okay, so Chukuma, let's connect. So you're in Lagos, yeah? Are you in Lagos?
No, I'm not in Lagos. I'm in the East.
You are what?
I'm in the East,
Oh,
eastern
in
part
the
of
East.
Nigeria.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's connect on LinkedIn. In case I come across any volunteering or internship opportunity, I will tag you. Okay?
Okay, I tried sending you but it's not connecting. I'm
It
getting
should.
if
My
a
LinkedIn,
return
my
feedback.
LinkedIn is. Wow, that's weird.
I just did now.
You should be able to. Yeah. You have. I've seen you, Precious Chukuma. Okay, so I will be on the lookout for you, and I should be able to tag you or recommend you if I come across anything. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Is there any other person that want to learn? Like you, I'm a learner as well. Okay. There's some said he's a learner. Okay, so there's some what I actually have in mind is I want to support your data for 3 months. I want to support your data for 3 months, and I want to buy one Udemy course for you for free. Okay. And I want, okay, Asian, you're a learner, software engineering. Okay, so Asian and the Sam speak to the organizer, Ima, speak to Ima after here. I would get you an Udemy course of your choice, okay, free of charge, and I will support your data for 3 good months, okay? All right, so that's a little support I feel I can, contribute to you, okay? All right, okay, guys.
Wow, that's really great. Thank you very much, boss. We are saying thank you for that. That's bit encouraging. Very wonderful one. So as we draw this incredible meetup to a close, I want to express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you. Today, we've embarked on a journey through the diverse and dynamic world of technology, and we've found it enriching and inspiring as it did, especially from the various speakers we heard from, and then from the remarkable and generous speakers. So they share their experiences, insights, and wisdom from branding to software engineering, data analysis to fintech and brand identity design. And their stories has illuminated different parts within the tech terrain. So I want to emphasize that our tech journeys are unique as our fingerprint. So we should learn to single out the right way to navigate this world, but there are universal values we can all embrace. So the commitment to learning, the power of collaboration, and the resilience to overcome challenges. And then I believe that you've gathered a lot from this event. So as you leave this event, remember that this isn't the end, but a new beginning or continuation of your tech adventure. So stay curious, stay learning, keep learning, and then connect with incredible tech communities as there's several social media handle has been dropped, so you could get to connect with all the speakers, and I will try my possible best to share all the social media handles to everybody that attended the event. So thank you, our esteemed guest speakers, for your invaluable contributions, and thank you to your our engaged audience for questions, curiosity, and the passion for tech. So stay connected, stay inspired, and let's continue to learn together as we navigate through this journey. So thank you very much. And then we have to say a goodbye for now until we meet again in our next tech exploration. So thank you very much. I'm really grateful for to everyone that attended. So thank you, and then goodbye.
Thank you,
So,
guys.
cheers. We
Thank
get
you,
to meet
guys.
again. Volunteer Awakan, I think you have to tell us the venue for your birthday celebration, please, please.
We're still on this matter.
I
So my
am.
birthday celebration is in my house. When you come to my house, you eat rice.
Give us drop the address. We want to come over.
Don't worry. When it's time, we'll see.
All right, no problem.
Thank
So
you.
happy birthday in advance. Get to have a
Thank you.
fruitful and a wonderful year ahead. Okay.
Happy birthday in advance, Bolo. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Mr. John. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank you, my
Take care.
Happy
Take care,
mentor.
birthday
guys.
in
Bye-bye.
advance, Bolu.
Bye. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So
Bye.
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 Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. So we get to wrap up.
Bye. Thank you.